Not really, just to say to everybody, thank you, welcome. Sarah's going to walk us through the new process for data entry in MRFix. It is streamlined, automated, and much improved. We're doing away with the spreadsheets that you had to download, fill out, and then upload. Everything is now online. So with that, Sarah is going to walk us through the data entry. Pretty straightforward, but all yours, Sarah, when you're ready.
Okay, great. I'm going to go ahead and start sharing my screen here. Okay. Hopefully everybody can see my screen. What you're looking at is a login to our actual COVA Trax database. So those of you who've been giving us data over the years, you've been entering it into our COVA Trax web portal. That is kind of like an interface. It's a database where we feed information from our actual COVA Trax database into the portal. And for those of you who've been doing the MR updates, you are entering in the portal updates for the site infrastructure systems, and then you were filling out a spreadsheet for the property or building systems. So we're going to do away with all of that, and we're asking now that people start logging directly into our COVA Trax database, where you will see information that has been supplied in previous years, and you would either overwrite that information or enter new information. So this is the login screen that you will see once you're given access to the database. Everyone will have a unique login that you will use, and then you will be creating your own passwords, and you'll have instructions on how to set up your own password. So I'm going to go ahead and log in, and I'm logging in with an account that I set up for someone that would be a third-party user, such as an agency user, and you'll have access to update site records and the MR data and the property, also known as building records, and their building systems. It is sensitive, so it's lowercase. So I am, oh boy, I forgot that I had Nelson 3. Sorry about that. All right, so this is a test environment. So I will tell you it is slightly slower than our actual production environment. But so if you do notice a few areas where it seems to be slow in responding, you will not see that in our production environment. So right now it is logged in and taking me to essentially a home screen where I'm seeing, this was a graphic art that a graphic artist that we had in our agency put together for us. And you may have noticed as the system was loading that it had Manhattan 1. That is the actual name of the application, but we elected to call it COVA Trax for any internal reference to the application. So as you're working through the system, everything is driven as a top menu. In your top menu here, you just have one area called Portfolio Management. And in Portfolio Management, you'll click on that, and then you're going to click on that again to actually access the area. And when you do that, we now have another horizontal menu that has appeared. And this is granting you access to our site records, our property records, a grid that can help you navigate through the records, and then some reports that you can use to export the information that you have just entered at the end of the process. Okay, so I'm going to start with what we call a site grid. So throughout the system, we have grids, and grids look like spreadsheets. And this is the way that I recommend that people navigate through the system, because this is going to give you a list of your sites that we have in our database and the properties that we have in the database. And then from there, you would click on a particular site or a particular property, and it will open to the screen where the data entry will begin. So if I go to the site grid, I am logged in as a user that has permissions to my agency only. Just like the portal, that would be the same for everybody else. You will just see your agency records. And I'm going to go ahead and update what we call our fleet property on Broad Street. So I am on site records right now. So we have a site record for the fleet property. So as you can see, it's underlined. Anything that's underlined is a clickable link. So if I click on that, it's going to open directly to the site record. And so now I am at the site record, which is just basic information. Where is the site? Which agency does it belong to? What region is it? We have regions that represent the county where it sits. We have the address, some additional information that we've picked up over the years through the land use plans questions that we have asked in the portal. And we have the acreage, 7.2 square feet. So this is just the basic information to the site. But what I need to do in order to get to the MR fixed data is I'm going to go over here to the left-hand side, and I'm going to expand the menu. Anywhere you see a right pointing arrow, that tells you that there's a menu that you can expand. So if I click just once on that, I'm now seeing a list of menus that are associated with this site record. So all of our sites are made up through deed records that we have received over the years. So as acreage has been acquired to expand the property, we'll create a deed record, and that acreage rolls up to the site acreage. If we sell a portion of the land, then we would enter in a disposition deed, and that acreage would be removed from the associated site. We also have properties that are linked to sites. So again, properties are buildings. So these are buildings or other improvements that sit on this particular site. But all the MR fix information is going to be down in this section called additional details. So again, you would get that grid, click on the link to open the record. Then you go down to additional details. Now we can see that it says 2 behind here, that there's 2 menus that we need to work with in this particular site record. And again, to expand that menu, right pointing arrow, just click on it one time, and there are my 2 forms. So to open a form, you just simply click on it once. And as it's loading, there's all the information from our prior years. So what we're looking at here is data that we have collected over prior years through the portal. So we have our site ID, and that's just I can't change anything here. That's just pulling from the record that it's linked to. But I can see that I have a date of update. I have nearest major location, site condition, and then I have 6 of our site infrastructure systems that are on this particular form. As you notice back on this previous form, there's a MR Fix Site Asset Survey number 2, part 2. That is where we have the additional sites infrastructure systems. So it is very important that you complete both forms. So what we are asking people that as you come in here, enter in the date of update. Now you can put a date, if you like the calendar tool, you just simply click on that, and you do have the calendar tool that you can use to navigate to the date. I personally like to just enter the date, especially if I'm on other fields, for example, here, these date fields where you have to go back to 1980 through a calendar, it's much easier to enter in the date. But also, anywhere that you have a date field, you don't have to enter like it's 12/10/25 or -10/25. You can just type in the numbers without any divider between them. So if I were to type today's date, 12/16/12/16/20/25, and then tab off of that, it automatically converts it to a date. Now here, if you determine that the previous information that you gave us for the nearest major location is incorrect, you can always change it by simply clicking on this icon here, the magnifying glass, and that's going to open a lookup. And again, this is test environments are slightly a little slower. We can see that there are up to 19 values. So these are the same 19 values that you would have seen through the portal. And if you want to change it, all you'd have to do is just simply double click anywhere on the row. And it's going to pick up that new value and now populate it on the form. Same thing with site condition in the portal. You're used to urban, suburban, or secured perimeter. Those are the same three choices here. If you're moving through these systems, you're going to answer the question, does it exist? Yes or no. If it does exist, and the two values here are either Y for yes or N for no. If it does exist, we're asking the same question for the age of the system, the date that it was last restored to new condition. And then we need a quantity. And the type of quantity that we're looking for is going to be described with the name here, field name here. And just enter the quantity. You don't have to, it'll automatically convert it to 2 decimal points. So we do allow quantities to carry up to 2 decimal points. If it does not exist, please make sure to go ahead and populate the field and put N for no. And then once you have finished the filling out the form, if everything looks good, make sure you always save it before you leave it. And you can do save. If you're like me, working throughout the day and you have a lot of interruptions, you want to make sure that you don't lose anything that you've been working on. Just
All right, bye.
Does anybody have any questions? Just make sure you save as you're working along. And then at the end, I always just recommend to people, just in case maybe you haven't saved recently, just go ahead and do save and close. That's going to capture all of your changes and at the same time close the form. And so takes us back to the site management form. And so now you can move on to part 2. Again, just click once on it. And there's our form. Same thing here. We are asking for a date again, just to confirm when you did updated the form. 1/6/2025. And then we have the remaining systems that we have been asking about from year to year. And the same 3 pieces of information that we've been asking. Does it exist? The date last restored to new, and the quantity. So if you fill in and answer a question, yes, and it is case sensitive, so we'll not recognize a lowercase y. Everything is capital letters, capital Y. And then you try to save without giving us the age or the quantity, you'll get a message that you've not completed information. There's values that still need to be populated. So click on OK. It takes you back to that field, and then you would go ahead and fill in that information. Or if you maybe put in the incorrectly said that it does exist, but realized no, it doesn't exist. I meant to work on another field. Just go ahead and overwrite it with no. And now you can save and close. So that's really all you have to do on a site record. So information we've been gathering over the last few years is already in the system and should reflect the most recent information that we have received. So I'm going to move on to property records unless anybody has any questions about our site records. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and close this form. And my site grid will remain open as long as I want, or now that I'm done with sites, I'm going to go ahead and close this. And then I'm going to go back up to my main menu up here. So this again is a sub menu. So the next thing I have available is a property grid. And if I go ahead and click on that, again, because I only have permission to DGS records, it's going to limit it to DGS buildings in our system. So now it's a lot more records, but it's still just DGS records. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click on a building. We'll stick with the fleet building on Broad Street. So if I just go ahead and click on, again, these are all underlined, so that tells me that's a clickable link. When I click on it, we'll go ahead and open the property record. Okay, so now I am looking at a improvement on the site, the S-000-145. And if you maybe get interrupted and you're not exactly sure what is site 000-145, you can just double click on that and that's going to open a little grid where you can see some basic information about that site record. But as we're waiting for that to load, what we can see here on this property record, there it goes. So that's the site S-000-145, DGS Darbytown Road Surplus Warehouse, Darbytown Road. So I'm going to go ahead and close this. Now I'm taken back to the property record. Similar to the site record, we also put the region on here, the responsible agency, the physical address for the property. We also have the gross property area for the actual improvement. We have whether it's owned or leased. We have a property type, WHS stands for warehouse. We also have a field where we can enter in some basic notes if there's any information that should be added to help better describe this particular improvement. Very similar now, we are going to go to where's the crux of the MR fix data, and we're going to navigate on this left-hand menu. So we're going to click on the right pointing arrow to expand the menu. Very similar, we have some additional records that are linked to this property record, but the information for MR fix is also going to be in additional details. And when I click on that, it does say 2, but I will tell you, looking for ways to maybe just turn this off. This is for another module. What you're looking for is MR fix building asset survey. So for the property records, there's only one MR fix form. And again, it's off of the additional details menu. So now that I had that expanded, I just simply click on MR fix building asset survey, and now it's going to load that form. So over the years, as we've been collecting the spreadsheets, this information has been migrated from all of those multiple spreadsheets into our COVA Trax database. And this will be a great help now that your information is being entered directly into the database. It'll avoid any unnecessary data migration. All of it's going to be directly entered into our database. So as we're looking at this form, again, it does display the property record that I've opened this form from. We have a date of update. And so we do ask everybody to make sure to fill in that date of update. We have a question about the date of original construction. Again, you do have a date calendar tool, or you can simply type in the date and again, just do month, day, year, with no dash or slash. Construction type, this is a pick list. And you can see that through magnifying glass that tells you there's a pick list. So when you click on that, that's going to give you the same pick list that's been on the spreadsheets with a brief description of what each one means. And you can change it or leave it. If you want to change it, just simply double click. And now it replaced it with what I selected. We have the same pick list for floors, either 1 floor, 2 to 4 floors, or 5 floors or greater. We have the same pick list for the building historic or the era that the building was built. And you might have noticed that I double clicked inside that field. This lookup will open either by clicking once on the magnifying glass or double clicking anywhere inside the field. So there's the same pick list that we've been using for years for the building historic era. Coming down here, we're asking about the specific use of the property. So we always, as we've done in the past, we have a choice for a primary functional use and a secondary functional use. These are pick lists. And there's 22 choices that are available. And if you want to change it, again, double click anywhere in the row. And now it's been changed to a classroom. Those of you that are higher education, you want to make sure to fill in the E&G percentage. You want to make sure to fill in the area that's applicable to just this primary functional use. If there is a secondary use, you're then going to come over here and select the secondary use and give us the square footage that's associated with it. And if E&G is applicable, you would enter that here. And what should happen at this point, let's say I'm going to go ahead and change this from 1,000 to 1,500. So as I'm typing that before I hit move on, it says 25,000 square feet is the building total gross square foot, all areas. This is a sum value between the primary and the secondary. So if I continue changing this to 1,500 and tab off of that, building total square footage is now recalculated and giving me a new total of 25,500. Then in this last section here, this is a list of every building system that we are asking you to give us the date that the system was last restored to new. If the system does not exist, just simply leave the box blank. And again, these dates work the same way. You just simply type in the date, no dashes, no slashes. Okay, and that's it for that form. We have the ability to save the form as you're working through it. And as you finish, I again encourage everybody, hit save and close. So you'll capture all of your changes. Just like the site form, it just takes us back to the property management form. So as you are finishing it for each record, you can just simply go back to the grid and select your next property to work on, or site if you're on the site grid. These two right here, site management and property management, they simply take you directly to the forms, but the forms will be empty, requiring you to look up what you're asking for. And that's why I recommend to navigate through these grids. And then at the end, when you've entered in all your updates, you'll probably want to export all the information to see everything that you entered. And then it also calculates what we call a relative age based on the systems and when they expired. And you can also you can export those reports and save them for next year when it's time for I guess we haven't hit 2026 yet, but come 2027 when it'll be time for the next updates. And that's what each one of these do. So if I click on the site maintenance reserve relative age, it's down here, it's loading a workflow that's going to generate that report. Now we do have some parameters that if there's anyone on the call that would be working on updates for more than one agency, this would be a value because you could select and say, I only want to run a report by one of my agencies, but ignore the other one for now. And so you could use either exclude agency and bring up a pick list of agencies that you do not want to see, or just keep everything at the default. So all, do not exclude anybody, and you want all sites. And so when you click on save and close, it's going to begin running the report. And it automatically generates it as an Excel report. And I am working in Edge today, the browser Edge. And for me, Edge always generates the reports and then opens a window on my right side of my monitor screen where I can actually open the Excel spreadsheet that's being produced. Okay, so if you can see on my screen with this black background, we have agencies, sites, maintenance reserve, relative age. And if I just go ahead and open that file, it's going to open in Excel, and there's all the information that's being captured for that has been entered and captured for these records. And that's an Excel spreadsheet, so you can save it and store it wherever you like for future reference. So does anybody have any questions? That was a very high level overview. We are planning to put together a little job aid that we will put on our website and share that link with everybody. We're also recording this demo, and we'll share that demo on the website too. Amy.
Yeah, should we already have access to this version of COVA Trax?
No, not yet. We will be opening up the website in probably early February is our goal, early to mid-February. So we'll be in touch with everybody. Before then, we will ask that everybody sign a user form, and then we'll set up your credentials.
All right, thank you.
And John?
What if you inherited hundreds of buildings from the Army and you know that those buildings have sprinkler and water and fire, but you have no idea when they were last restored? What values should you use?
Ron still on the call?
Yes, use your professional judgment. If you have a facility director, look at the system, make an assessment. Oftentimes, equipment will have a tag on it that'll tell you when it was replaced. And after that, you're gonna, if there's no indication of when it was restored, that's when your expertise, your professional judgment is stepping in and assessing the age of the system.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Okay. Well, if nobody else has any additional questions, we'll go ahead and give you back the rest of your day. So,
All
last
right.
call.
Thank you very much, Sarah.
All right,
And,
thank you.
Sorry, one more question, Sarah.
Yep.
when will a recording, this one or last week's, be posted on the DGS website?
Yeah, so I will stop this recording as soon as the meeting is ready to end and check it out. And if it looks good, I'll go ahead and post it on the website today.
Okay, awesome. Thanks again, Sarah.
Okay, and we'll share a link with everybody. So those who, if there's others at your agency that couldn't attend, that you want them to sit in on a demo, they're welcome to either check out the video or we are apologize for my voice. We are anticipating that refresher training sessions will be necessary. So we are looking at some dates in late January for those demos.
Perfect.
Time for me to get some water.
All right. Thanks
Thank
again,
you,
Sarah.
everybody.
Sarah,
Bye-bye.
most of this information is going to be filled out. You said pre-approved. It's already going to be pre-filled out for these.
Yes. Yes, if you provide us information, we will have prior year information already available for you that all you're doing is verifying and making any necessary changes.
All right. And when can we expect the link to get to sign in and everything you said for this started?
Yeah, so we're looking to open up everything in early to mid-February. So we'll start looking to send out the forms that we're going to ask people to sign sometime during the month of January.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.